So hello everyone, this is just a brief little getting the stream ready sort of period, getting everyone in and ready to go. So if you are watching post race, more than welcome to get yourself switched over to the intro. Just flick yourself forward a few moments and we'll be sure to get ourselves underway shortly. But if you are tuning in live, hello, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So looking forward to the race ahead. Powell's first in, would you look at that? That's foreshadowing where you're going to finish. It's foreshadowing. I had an extra hour of English last week, so I've got the English mindset. Because the maths department was marking too many exams, so they couldn't teach us, so we had to do English instead. And Starry in. Alright, so this is the grid order so far. The quicker you get in, so the order you come into the stream is the order you're going to finish today. So at the moment it's Pals, followed by Starry, followed by Bitmappy, who's going to finish third despite not racing. Which makes sense. Ooh. Oh my god, my curtains aren't closed. I'm just getting a massive glare on my screen. It's really annoying. Right, that is definitely a lot better now. I can actually see what I'm doing, which is always going to help. Going to be a long one. It is. This is going to be 36 laps for Palps. This is a long time. Are you up for it, Palps? Have you got this? Yeah, exactly. Sumo, Patterson, Scott, and Pals all within 3 points of each other. That's three positions on track, which is going to decide the P3 in the championship, which is absolutely mental. Starry's going to try his best. No better way to do it than the end of the season. So I believe in all of you. You've all got my completely unbiased belief. All equally supporting all of you. So I'm not biased at all. Do not have favourites. Oh yeah, let's put our bets in. So Bitmappy's saying Scott. Who are we saying for third place? You see, Patterson is pretty quick at Interlagos. Sumo as well. Scott has won here before. So there's that. Could Paus maybe bring one out of the bag? Haven't seen him since his, new resurgence of form. So who knows? We'll see. And I apologise for the background noise. They don't seem to realise to shut up. Vardy, yeah, Vardy's very quick, but he's fallen off a little bit towards the end. I'm sorry, Vardy, but it could definitely be a factor. Is Ghost Race? Ghost is rapid around here. One of my favourite clips of Interlagos is when Vardy and Ghost were fighting for the win on the last lap, and you just saw Dava in the background. Oh, we got fighting talk from Sumo. I can't wait to see Sumo get blue flagged, and I mean he wouldn't be wrong if he gets blue flagged. You're still seeing him in his mirrors, but yeah, that is true. Vardy is using elite assist, so I'll give him that. That is very true. But nonetheless, hello and welcome everyone to APPF1, and how time has flown by. You join us for the finale of Season 2, and what a season it's been, with absolutely mental races throughout the season, such as Bahrain Short and the season opener way back in USA and Abu Dhabi. It's been a wild ride for sure. We crowned both Ted and Red Bull the championship winners after incredible performances all season long. However, the fight for P3 is certainly alight. With 5 drivers separated by just 3 points, it's all or nothing for P3 in the championship. Who will we see conquer the absolute beauty of a track that is Interlagos? Stay tuned to find out. Very delighted to announce the Sprint Championship sponsor, the incredibly talented TC Focus on Instagram, is staying for an extra season going into Season 3. It's a pleasure to have him on board on the journey that is APPF1. Differing to the normal format of the Sprint Championship, it's one-shot quali followed by just the singular 50% race. Adds that little extra spice to the mix. It's time very shortly to get underway. The adrenaline is pumping for everyone. Sumo, Scott, Paus, Aces and Patterson all aiming for P3 in the championship. Anyone could get it. The stakes have never been higher. I'm Zach Sweeney and I'll be taking you through tonight's action. Get your popcorn and most importantly get your tea, because we are in for a ride. One-shot qualifying followed by 36 laps of the race. It's an endurance that a lot of people might not be used to in the Sprint Championship. Of course, it's only 25 usually, so it's double the distance that they're used to. So we'll have to see how they get on and fare. Of course, the attrition definitely could wear in towards the end. Strategy going to play a massive factor, but we'll just find out. We'll wait and see and find out. But I'm looking forward to this one. So decisive, so close, and everything at stake. Paus in for a chance of P3 in the championship. 5 drivers in for that shot. A lot of them probably people we weren't necessarily expecting going into the season. Of course, Patterson didn't have the best of form during season 1, but he's definitely come into this season very much punching. So we'll go on board with the newly crowned champion of TED, coming towards turn 1, looking for around about that 75 board, down to 4th gear, let the car roll through the corner, and then just get on the power as much as you can through turn 3, completely flat. DRS open, that drag reduction open in the rear wing, and Patterson has retired. That's not good for his bid for P3 in the championship. Looking for the 50 board, down to 4th gear, let the car run out wide, completely flat for turn number 5, and then up the hill towards 6 and 7, knowing like at the moment provisional pole he had a good debut here at Interlagos, had some great pace. Now through the hairpin type very fast right hander, now towards this quick little right hander into the long left that you just have to coast in 3rd gear, use the undulation to turn the car, and now down towards this little right hand corner, very cambered, where we saw Albon and Lewis Hamilton come together in 2019. Now flat through this completely downhill left hander, then towards the penultimate corner, look for that 50 board, brake just before it, down to 3rd gear, let the car roll out, and then on the power, as straight exit as you can possibly get. It's looking good for Paus and Davila and Vardy, and knowing like as we go towards the line, Ted hasn't had a best of 3rd sectors, and across the line, what's it going to be? It's going to be knowing like with Paus on the front row, marginally ahead of his teammate Davila, who goes on a 108.173. Vardy just behind, Kington in P5, Rasto P6, Tier P7, and Ted P8. Her face is P9. Starry in P10. Great performance for him. But as I said, it's Patterson that's fallen down, as well as Sumo, both needing to finish ahead of Paus for P3 in the championship, which, well, they're a long way back, so it's going to be difficult for them to do. But after a very thrilling one-shot qualifying session, Knowing Light takes his first pole for McLaren, with Paus rounding off the front row. Davila P3, Vardy P4, Kington P5, Rasto in P6. An incredible performance from him with Tier in P7. Ted, the championship winner, in P8. Her face is P9, with Starry rounding off the top 10. Kizagiza P11, S-Man P12, Scott P13, QB P14, Kieran P15, with Wayne, Sumo and Patterson, very crucially, Sumo and Patterson out of this qualifying session. So that's a lot of pressure alleviated off Paus' shoulders going into the race. But it's a long one. They can definitely bring it back up the grid. And we'll have to see. Look how close that qualifying is, though. So decisive. And Paus with some good pace. So we'll have to see how the race goes. Don't go anywhere. So, as everyone is now finalising their strategy, I would probably say it's going to be soft to medium, soft to hard maybe. I would say it's pretty safe for soft to medium. Again, I haven't really done much around it in Interlagos, but I would hedge my bets that the tyre weight isn't too harsh. So it should be relatively okay. But other than that, we'll just have to see. But yeah, session getting underway very soon. Paus on the front row, Davila just behind. It's been really good qualifying performances for Alpha in the last few rounds. So they've really stepped it up in the second half of the season. A little bit, could have done with it a little bit earlier maybe, and they could have been in the run for the Constructors' Championship. But Definitely interesting, and their form has definitely improved a lot, so well done to them guys. We are now green for the formation lap. Let me just make sure the audio isn't too loud. It's quite loud in my ear. There we are. I forgot to turn it down beforehand, but knowing like, yes, he's his debut here in Interlagos around about a season ago. He did very well in the McLaren. He's got Paus alongside him though. Paus is going to be wanting to just stay calm. Of course, we've had a lot of championship deciders in real life here before. Of course, Sebastian Vettel had a great start back in 2011 or 2012. Got spun round at turn 1 and had to fight his way through. Hopefully for Paus' sake that isn't going to be the case and he can have a nice clean run. But knowing like has completely shot off. Paus is having a nice leisurely time here, cruising at around 100 miles an hour. Pretty quick pace for a formation lap as well. But knowing like it's just sort of shut off, which is very weird to see. But he's now backing up and waiting for everyone. Realised that his tyres are going to be stone cold if he did it. Have a quick look at this tyre strategy. He'll face this on the mediums. Scott on the mediums. Patterson going long on those mediums. So it's going to be interesting. It's a long race ahead of us. Don't go anywhere. As they're now rounding the last sector, I'm going to get themselves on to the grid. It's a very short run towards turn 1. So the run is very crucial. But now, knowing like running himself onto the house, really bad. The minimum is 10 car lengths, but knowing like did shoot off a little bit, and his tyres are going to be really cold, and Paus is going to have a massive advantage towards turn 1. The short run means if he can get a good launch and get up the inside of turn 1, he's going to be in a very good position. Same with Davler and Vardy as well. These two are going to want a very good start. Lining up now. Pretty good strategy. Soft to hard, soft medium. 36 laps of Interlagos ahead of us for the season finale of Season 2. How time has flown. And how shaken up this season has been. We crowned the champion, but P3 certainly is up for grabs. People are revving up. We go to 5 red lights ahead of the Season 2 finale. There's a lot of drive-throughs and we're underway in racing for the Season 2 finale. It's a great start from Paus, who's already looking alongside and knowing like, but he just couldn't quite get the second phase. Vardy up the inside of Davler now through turn 1. It's going to be the Alfa Romeo back up the inside of turn 2. Everyone's ghosted. Can't quite see what's going on, but that is Davler and Vardy very much compromised. Vardy now under pressure from the Ferrari, who's right next to him. Kington now putting the pressure on. It's going to be the outside for turn number 4 if he can keep it there. Vardy as late as he can on the brakes claims that position as now the tower starts to sort itself out, but it's known like from Paus, from Davler, from Vardy. Kington now settling into P5 and side by side goes Rasto in the McLaren up the hill towards turn 6 and 7 around the outside. What a bold move. He's been pushed off though. He went a little bit too late and that's now going to promote Ted up 2 places into P6. Now Starry up into P7 and the Williams of Wayne wants a slice of the cake as well. It's going to be the outside for turn number 8. Can he keep it there? No, he can't. So Rasto going to settle in for P8 so far in this race. But how much progress has Sumo and Patterson made? The 2 championship rivals going side by side. He's made contact and he's driven into him and Sumo round and oh no, maybe the overconfidence before the race has come back to haunt him. He's in P18 and very much out of the running for this race. Now Patterson going side by side with Hephaestus into the final corner. No. With Vardy now on the back of Davila. Fighting for P3 towards turn 1. And it's definitely going to be Vardy trying to chase onto the back of him. It's such a close race start. But just, yeah, shame for Sumo. That's going to be him very much out of the running for P3 in the championship in such a close fight. And here now comes Tier up the inside of Rasto into turn 4. He's going to have that, but Rasto's going to keep it on the outside. And now down towards turn 6 and 7. He's not quite got the run. And it's sort of single file, nothing much happening at the front. Paus just waiting for the DRS to kick in for Knowing Light. And both Renaults in, so a shame for Starry as well. He had a great start and is now going to be at the back of the grid, which is definitely a big shame. But a very interesting start. We've got Patterson now getting up the inside of Kiza and getting himself into the top 10. Definitely on a charge here. and looking to make amends for his poor qualifying. That start was incredible indeed. And are now coming on to lap number, I believe it's number 3, as Knowing Light sets the fastest lap. He's very much clear of Paus in terms of DRS. 1.6 seconds is the gap, so really controlling this race from the outset. But now on to lap 3 with DRS enabled. Here's QB trying to get up the inside of his teammate. It's all kicking off. Everyone wanting to impress for the season finale and have that confidence going into season 3. Rasto now in the DRS of tier, but can't quite get the run. Davila though probably next to put the pressure on Paus. They don't want to fight too hard. Davila and Paus, great teammates, really work well together. And Davila knows that Paus is fighting for a chance in P3 in the championship, so isn't going to want to hold him up too much. A bit of a fight going on for P8 between Tier and Wayne. Through turn 8 and 9 now towards turn 10 and 11. Is he going to look up the inside? No, he's not. He's going to settle in nicely, but Vardy on the pressure, putting the pressure onto Davila. He's going to have DRS down this back straight, so we'll have to check in with that. There's yellow flags through sector 2 and 3. That's Rasto out of this race, very wide through there. What has happened? Is it just been a bit of a snap? It looks as though it's been a snap, big snap through this fast left-hander, and that is really going to cost him. That's a full course yellow out on circuit. And that's a VSC being brought out as well, which is, yeah, huge shame. So everyone having to adhere to a 40% race speed delta. And they're going to have to neutralise the race pretty much until Rasto's car can get in. This is Paus' opportunity. You can see he's really closed up under this VSC to Knowing Light, so if he can keep this delta positive and have a good launch, DRS is enabled straight away, so Paus could be in a good position here. He's had to really back off though, as well as Davila, with Wayne already being given a penalty probably for contact under the VSC. And we are back under green flag racing very shortly. QB's just been given a drive through for speeding under the VSC, a very clumsy mistake to do. And he's going to have to serve that under the green flags. And we are back under green flags now. Paps has managed to make a bit of an indent to Knowing Light's lead, but not quite enough to see him get into the DRS range. Vardy now in the DRS of Davila, but he's got the DRS of his teammate to defend with, so Vardy isn't quite going to be able to close up too much on this. But we've got the Mercedes of Tier closing up onto Wayne. It should be a good run towards turn 1. Wayne defends Tier to the outside. Should be a pretty plain sailing move, and he's got that before the braking zone. But here comes Wayne back up the inside into turn 1. There's contact though, and he should have been expecting that. Yeah, very late under brakes. He's going to rejoin. Geezer just settling in front there. And now Patterson putting the pressure on Tier after a little bit of a ding-dong battle between the two. And now into turn number 4. Patterson with some incredible pace so far, but he's got a long way to go if he wants to get P3. Paus at the moment is looking secure for it, and Patterson needs to finish 3 points ahead of Paus, which certainly is a shame that he managed to disqualify himself in qualifying. And it's a swap of positions at the front between Davila and Paus. It looks as though Paus isn't going to fight this one too hard, but he's got maybe a little look at Paus coming towards turn number 4. Here comes Vardy up the inside. Paus is very much going backwards. Is he going to be able to hang on around the outside? No, he's not. So Vardy's going to settle into P3. Apologies for the slight little pause there, just missing it. It looks as though there was a lot of background noise that I couldn't quite avoid, so decided it'd be best to just mute the mic and keep it clean. But we're back at it now. Vardy managed to get into P3. Paus very much going backwards in this race. Didn't want to fight that one too hard. With Tier there, that's a big sideways moment for Kington that we've just managed to see, coming off of the back of turn number 9. And Patterson getting gifted another position. Now only a few seconds off the back of Paus, and on this alternate strategy you could see him close the gap. So it could be very interesting. Patterson has not counted out this one just yet. Here comes Vardy though. Davila having to protect his ERS. You can see conserving energy, so Vardy knows that. He knows this is now his chance to strike. Maybe going to go for it towards turn number 4. Under brakes, just needs to keep that gap clean. Get a good launch. Davila hasn't got a lot of ERS, so here comes Vardy. He's going to push the button. He knows he can now launch this attack with DRS and slipstream coming towards turn number 4. He's going to want to get himself into P2. Pulls to the outside. It's going to be the better line if he can swoop around. Clips the grass. Davila not going to fight it too much. Still going to be side by side on the exit, but Davila just having to tuck in there. So Vardy claiming that position very nicely. Burnt through all of his energy to do it though, which is certainly less than ideal. Oh, Ghost has screwed him up there. Didn't even realise that Ghost had done that. And this battling has allowed Paus to get back into the DRS, but maybe just playing it cautiously. He knows a podium's there, and if it was any other race, I'm sure he'd be gunning for it. But at the moment, he knows what's at stake. He's seen what happened to Sumo when he pushed it a bit too much, so he doesn't want to make that same mistake and seal that same fate. So we're just going to try and keep it clean. Patterson into P6, still in some great points paying positions, and maybe could go for P4 in the championship potentially. But P3 might have to go to Paus, who knows, we'll see. And we're about 28 or so laps time, actually, I should say. My maths not really holding up there. S-Man has left the session, so we had a bit of a disconnection as usual for S-Man. That's a big shame. But Davila has stuck with Vardy. So pretty much equal on pace, and if they start battling, Paus could definitely close back up to this little fight. Gizzy with 3 seconds. Penalties, yeah, something we're going to see quite a lot of. Coming through turn number 9 towards turn 10 and 11. Davila's still there, just needs to conserve a little bit of energy, save some energy up. Rashto has left, yeah, understandably so. Not his day today, unfortunately. And S-Man now finally getting back in, so it's kept it there, fortunately. And it shouldn't lose too much. Still in P12, great position to be in. Davila closing on Vardy. He's going to launch the pressure, maybe go for it into turn 4. Very much under the brakes towards turn 1, closing the gap. Needs a good exit though. That's exactly what Vardy's got to defend this position. I don't think Davila's got enough in the tank in terms of ERS to close the gap, and he hasn't. He's not closing at a rate of knots. He's going to look to the inside. It's definitely desperate. Vardy gives him the space though. He sort of scared him, so that's good sort of racecraft from Davila there to know that Vardy was going to give him the space just to show his nose, but didn't blink twice afterwards and didn't have the exit. Needs to conserve a little bit more ERS, it seems, does Davila. And then he can maybe launch the attack in a few moments time. When he's done that, we've lost the intervals. Ted closing onto the back of Paus now. Patterson isn't too far behind. S-Man now back in. Yeah, Paus definitely in survival mode at this point. Does not want to mess up. So he's just going to try and hang on, because he knows what's at stake. He knows a P3 in the championship is definitely possible today. Here comes Davila though. He's closing on Vardy. He's got a little bit of ERS left to use. Deja vu once again. He just needs a better exit. He's got a better exit, but the ERS is lacking. He hasn't quite got a lot. The DRS is going to allow him to close, and they're both catching Knowing Light, in fact. And the gap has come down. So working together really, really well. Both running very thin though, and Knowing Light pretty much chilling at the front with 40%. He's really conserved it effectively. Yeah, Davila just not got enough. He needs to practice the ERS management. That's something that's really cursed Davila. It's the fact he's never got a lot in the tank. and the same with Vardy as well. He usually has a lot. Him and Ghost, when they were teammates at Williams, used to always see them in P1 and 2 just chilling at the front with almost 80% battery to use. But here comes Davila. He is closing quite fast. Could go for a desperate launch towards turn 1. launch towards turn 1. He is going to go for that desperate launch towards turn 1. Vardy going to settle in. He's not going to fight this one. He knows he's got DRS back down towards turn 4. He's got a great exit as he has been for the last couple of laps, so he's going to come right back at him now. Both very low on ERS, so it's all about sheer manpower. Now to the outside goes Vardy. He's going to do the same move he did a couple of laps previously. Davila not as late on the brakes as he possibly could be, but going to keep it on the inside. Bit of rubbing between the two now through turn number 4 and 5, and then up the hill towards turn 6 and 7. Davila on the outside, there's contact. He's over the grass. He's managed to keep it out the wall, has he? He's very wide. That's going to promote his teammate Paus back into P3. No, it's not, because Davila's going to rejoin just in front of him. And that is very much close racing between the two. And Davila knows he's going to be a little bit slower, so going to pull over and let his teammate through and maybe hold off Ted for a little bit. That was a good effort from Davila, and Vardy settling back into P2. Very controversial moment there. But, I mean, it was close. Davila just pinched that one little wheel onto the grass, and it definitely cost him. So Davila needing to recompose himself a little bit. Anything going on further down, we've lost the interval, so I'm not too entirely sure as to where everyone is. We have got Patterson 4 seconds, so definitely not far away as we go on to lap 12 of 36, a third of the way through this race. So still a long way to go. Ted on the back of Davila, both running pretty low when it comes to the energy recovery system. The closest fight on track between these two, P4 and 5. It was a very, very close quarters, little bit of a battle, definitely, which is a shame. 4 tenths between them, and Vardy couldn't quite close on Knowing Light. He has been a little bit quicker, but Knowing Light with the ERS advantage as well, even if Vardy does close up, it's not quite going to be easy for Vardy to get through, because now Vardy's starting to save a little bit, but Knowing Light as well. Powell's coming into the pit lane on lap 13, going for an undercut, going proactive with his strategy. Where's he going to come out in relation to everyone else on track? Patterson up a position as well. Powell's going towards his pit box. We've got Ted on the back of Davila. Still, I'm going to presume that Davila is going to come in this lap as well. Powell's going onto the hard tyres to the end of the race. Should be pretty comfortable. I would say so, at least. Scott in the Mercedes. It's been driving pretty well. Again, another one with a shot of P3 in the Drivers' Championship, but not driving to his best at the moment. House looking favourite to do so at the moment, so long as he keeps it out of the wall for the next 23 laps. Wayne picking up another penalty, unfortunately, as well. So the closest battle at the moment still between Ted and Davila. And again, just can't quite get the launch. Davila hanging on, and I'm going to guess he's coming into the pit lane as well as maybe Ted. Both of them actually staying out, in fact. So Powell's very early on his pit stop. The pit window only now just opening, which is a strange thing. Vardy's telemetry kind of annoying because it's constantly redlining. Tier into the pit lane as well. Powell's maybe wanting to go that lap earlier, just getting that fresher tyre for a little bit longer. Tier into the pit lane as well. Davila now starting to stretch his legs, show that pace he had towards the start of the stint when he was fighting with Vardy. They're trying to stay with him. Davila doing everything in his power to keep Ted behind. Every position, every point counts when it comes to his teammate Paus. And he's going to do everything in his power to try and help out. Paus currently P8, but after pit stops filter out, he should be looking pretty good. Sonic now into the chat as well. Welcome. Let's see what Paus can do on these hard tyres. But these guys at the front really staying out quite long. Could this harm Paus maybe in relation to the front runners? Patterson as well, we know is going to stay out for quite a little bit longer to have the fresher tyres, the fresher soft tyres towards the end of the race. So Ted still sort of in that toe hook of Davila. Sticking with him. A little bit of a couple of pit lane dwellers coming in now. Giza coming out just behind Kington. Kington already having stopped 7 laps previously after his little bit of an incident coming out of turn 9. Vardy the first to flinch. That's going to force Ted to stay out another lap. Vardy coming in. Where's he going to come out in relation to Paus? Has Paus gained anything maybe on Vardy? Or have the softs managed to stay alive? There's Vardy now coming out. He's now leaving the pit lane. I don't think Paus has got him. Paus has lost quite a bit of time because of this. Maybe he could have stayed on those softs a little bit longer. But yeah, this seems to have hurt Paus. So the softs staying alive for quite a while. And Vardy's hedged a bet. He's gone on to the mediums. Could work, definitely. It's not the first time he's done something a little bit unorthodox. And it's worked. As well, Sumo on the back of Kieran. The Renault making his way up another position. Chucking up the inside, using a little bit too much of the track on the inside, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. And Kieran isn't going to fight this one too hard, goes over the grass a little bit though. And Sumo seems to have managed to secure that one. Just his first lap incident really saw him out of the running for this race, knowing like the race leader into the pit lane as well. So Davila inherits the provisional race lead and is the only one not to have pit apart from the alternate strategy runners. So Patterson staying out, Davila going that extra lap, confident in his pace. And Paus still on the back of Scott, who's yet to pit. And this dirt, yeah, probably has cost him. He goes very slow, so Paus sweeps around the outside. And he's going to settle just behind Ted. He's lost a couple of positions. He's lost his head as well. And the extra few laps has allowed them to go onto the medium tyres. So Paus, yeah, shot himself in the foot maybe a little bit here. He's going to be on the warmer tyre. At least until Ted can get those mediums warmed up. Should be too long. Now Davila finally deciding to pit, so he's going to be on the best medium tyres of the bunch. A really spread out grid now. Halfway through the race, Patterson stays out. Davila now only just coming in. Strapping on the hard tyres. Again, very interesting. So that's a weird strategy call from Alfa Romeo that everyone else around him has gone to the mediums, but both Alphas gone for the hards. They seem confident in it. Maybe it could be a bit of a mistake. Tez managed to get an undercut on Davila though. And with those mediums, should be looking good. I would say towards the end of the race, if Davila can do 18 lap on soft, 18 lap on medium shouldn't be too difficult, but he's gone hards anyway. Maybe just to be a bit more confident, push them to the end rather than having to maybe save a little bit like with the mediums. Who knows? Definitely an unorthodox thing for Davila to have done. Usually does make pretty good strategy calls, so we'll trust him for now. Vardy with some incredible pace though, fastest lap. And starting to close on to knowing like now. Saved up a lot of ERS in the pit lane. usually save around 20 or 30% in the pits. Davler's still there with Ted actually, so his pace relative to Ted isn't too bad. So here he comes, he's going to look to the inside, he's going to go up the inside maybe, Ted going to give him the space, Davler trying to keep it on the inside, keeps his foot in up the inside again of turn number 5, that is a bold move, and again on the outside of a Red Bull coming into turn 6, going to start getting flashbacks, but he's going to keep his foot in around the outside, Ted gives him the space, and that's Davler into P4, and we dealt with him on these hard tyres, he's got some pretty good pace it seems, 6 seconds off Vardy and Knowing Light, but he's managed to get himself back up into P4. And Pavs, yeah, again, hasn't managed to settle into this race in a second stint. Had some good, first couple lap pace. I'll have a quick look further down because it looks as though QB is having a go at, has got Starry all in his mirrors. Starry trying to find a way through. Vardy again with the fastest lap, chipping away at the net leader of Knowing Light. Slowly putting the pressure on. And Vardy showing some incredible speed. Kieran with a 3-second penalty. Both of these guys running extremely low when it comes to the energy recovery system. Of course, if you don't know, if you're new to Formula 1, ERS, the energy recovery system, is basically a battery at the back of the car in the engine that stores the electrical energy. And when they push the button, when they push overtake, it gives them an extra 160 horsepower or so to use down the back straight, usually resulting in around about 10 to 20 miles an hour of extra speed, so it does go a long way, and to have a nice store of that chemical energy in the battery does go a long way in helping. Sumo now settling into P15. He's on the fresh medium tyres, definitely to the end of the race. And Ted sticking with Davila. Just can't quite close again because he's lacking the ERS. Yep, I did definitely predict it. Sumo not having the greatest of races, it must be said, especially in such a crucial one such as this. Here with a 3-second penalty, Davila and Ted, the two closest cars on track at the moment. Patterson is going to take the P3 in the championship, but he's still yet to pit, so all Pals as it stands. Looking good to take P3. Hephaestus on the back of QB. QB going a little bit backwards. He's got quite a lot of ERS to use. QB having to save a little bit. So here comes Hephaestus in the racing point. He's going to dart to the inside. Nice little move. Under brakes. Is the AlphaTauri going to fight it around the outside? He tries to, but not quite enough. And yeah, as you say, Patterson losing a lot of time now. He needs to pit pretty soon. Knowing Light and Vardy are chasing up to him. But maybe he's hedging his bets on a late safety car. A late safety car could definitely throw a spanner into the works. Maybe is what he's counting for, what he's waiting for. QB again being lined up to be overtaken by Sumo, who's all over the back of him. He's going to try and set up the move. Those tyres are going to be screaming in pain though compared to the fresh medium of Sumo. He's going to try and look around the outside potentially. Dart to the inside, could be possible. Maybe around the outside, similar to where he actually crashed, clipping the grass again. Goes for a nice little cutback though. It'll be the outside for turn number 13. He's going to try and keep his foot in. Just gets run off the track though. That's not going to work around the outside of there of such a flat out corner. Back up to the front though. Ted still on the back of Davila as well. Very, very close. Patterson now Knowing Light is all over the back. Pretty much of by the time this time next lap, he's going to be all over the back of him. So Patterson thinking of pitting soon, and there he goes into the pit lane. That's going to promote everyone up a position. Knowing Light re-inherits the race lead with Vardy going up into P2. Here's Davila and Ted now coming through. Sumo on the back of QB. He's going to pretty much sail past up into P14. Very nicely done from the Renault. But very much just damage limitation for the time being. Ted had a little look. Pav's up in position. He's closing. He's got the DRS. He's not got a lot of ERS either. behind. Now heading towards turn 6 and 7, chucking it through, looping round, under brakes towards turn 8. Ted still there. Remember, he should in theory have the advantage. He's on these fresher medium tyres. The yellow stripe mediums are definitely quicker at that than the hards, especially at this stage in their lifetime. So Davila is driving incredibly well to keep him behind. And Hephaestus now on the back of Kieran and goes in very deep, does the Haas. So Hephaestus is going to just take that position back, take the race line, and be done with it. So see you in a bit. But here comes Ted once again. Has he got the closing speed to maybe launch an attack for P4? He looks a lot closer. Is it going to be enough? There's, I believe, Starry pulling over to the inside to let them through. So there's one Renault being lapped. Renault really not having the best of days today at all. There's an AlphaTauri now coming out the pits. Ted is looking a lot closer this time now through turn number 3 and heading towards 4. Again, just hasn't got the speed, hasn't got the ERS. He needs to take a few laps to chill, recharge his batteries, and then come back at him. Because at the moment it's not working. Scott fastest though, 109.6. He's gunning for it. Patterson closing on Paus, so 3 seconds the gap between those two championship rivals. But Ted's still on the back. Can he close the gap? Again, he just needs to stay back for a couple of laps. That's also Vardy into the DRS of Knowing Light. Could get spicy between those two. But he's got no ERS to attack with. Davila now running low on fuel though. Ted needs a good exit. This is probably the best chance he's got. Davila with the cleaner run just gets the drive off the corner. And Ted left-handed. He can't do anything to get himself onto the... Closing all over onto the back of Paus, so this could get spicy between the two championship rivals. He needs an extra 3 positions past Paus. So he needs to overtake Paus and then go and get Ted and Davila, which is going to be a tough ask with 12 or so laps left to go, but could be possible. We've seen Patterson do better, or do harder I should say. So certainly interesting. Ted really pushing Davila now. You can see all over the back of him, putting the pressure on, saying come on, get a move on. And he has saved up that little bit of ERS, but so has Davila, ready to use down this back straight. Ted needs to make sure he doesn't use it too early. Vardy needs to make sure he launches this attack at the right time. 25 of 36 and splicing up now between the front 4. Albeit at different points and for different stakes. Vardy is closing. Ted again didn't decide to push the button. Davila did a little bit, so he's now got a good launch. This is probably his best chance, if ever, to push the button and get himself going, but he isn't. He's sitting behind. He knows he's not confident enough to do it. So again, another lap of saving. This is what he needs. He needs to chill behind. S-Man on the back of Kieran of the Haas. Not quite in an overtaking opportunity, so we'll cut back to the front between Vardy and Knowing Light. Vardy sieging Knowing Light out now. He's in the DRS, he's comfortable, he's well within it and can just chill there and wait. And you can now see he's building up that store of chemical energy in the battery. He's waiting for the moment, and he's putting Knowing Light under pressure. This is what Vardy does. He sticks there, he puts you under pressure, he stays in your mirrors, makes you blink, and that is Ted very wide and off into the gravel, into the grass, and nearly hitting the wall. It looks as though he's gotten away with it. No, he hasn't, because under power again, he's lost it. So that's Paus and Patterson both up an extra position, and a lot of pressure off Davila's shoulders, certainly. And Ted rejoining down in P7, so the champion making a very uncharacteristic mistake. And here comes Patterson now putting the pressure on Paus. It's all kicking off this lap. Paus defensive. Here comes Patterson to the outside. Can he get this done? He's on the fresher soft tyre. So Paus going to have to settle in for P5 and hope that Patterson doesn't chase. But as Patterson now maybe setting a chance up for P3 in the championship. We'll have to wait and see. Paus just needs to stick with him and hope his tyres die. Vardy's lost a little bit of time to Knowing Light. Davila picking up a 3-second time penalty. Could add a bit of spice. Patterson finishes third, one ahead of... Interesting. He needs fastest lap, so Patterson needs fastest lap if he wants to take third in the championship, because getting Davila and Vardy seems incredibly unlikely. So he needs fastest lap as well. So I'm presuming it's 2 points for fastest lap then. And Starry, that is Kieran very much off the exit of the penultimate corner. Vardy now back into DRS. He's had to expend a bit of DRS to do so, knowing like now running nearly under that 10% threshold for efficient energy. Once he gets below 10%, only needs to get within 3 seconds of Davila now. Indeed he does. So that's 1.5 seconds in the next 8 laps, and on those fresh soft tyres shouldn't be too difficult, in fact. Interesting, certainly interesting. I thought he was 3 points behind. I'm not too entirely sure. He might just be 2. But he wins on count back. Oh no, yeah, it's only 2 points. So at the moment, it is definitely between Patterson and Paus. Patterson needs one more place if he wants third in the championship, which from the back of the grid is going to be pretty remarkable if he can salvage this. And Vardy really saving up that energy now, 80% compared to Knowing Light's 30. He's ready to use this at a moment's notice, and Vardy gunning for that race win on off the finale. Yeah, cheers for the correction, Ghost. Incredible stuff between the two. It's so decisive. Davila's going to try and hang on as best he can for his teammates' sake. And Patterson with more race wins this season, because Paus doesn't have any, will win it on count back. So it's very, very tense. I'm sure everyone's biting their nails back at home. With the two Mercedes, well, actually Wayne was a former Mercedes driver. Scott sort of been everywhere. That's very wide. That's not the track. It is a lot quicker if you stay on the track there, Scott. Maybe just wanted to get a little bit closer to the Brazilian fans. Who knows? But he's now got a bit of closing up to do on this. If he wants to get himself into the top 8. Vardy dangling around that 1 second range, but he's got a big, big hand. If only it was for first in the championship, how much more tense it would be, but still very tense. And Vardy knows he can get this race win. Only a few laps left. We're in the closing stages of this Grand Prix. Season 2 finale. And a championship battle going down to the wire. Knowing Light's managed to maybe pick up a bit of DRS. Vardy has from Sumo in front. Oh, it very much is, yeah. Masters championship lasting around about 20 seconds or so, whatever it was between the gap between him and Hamilton. Sumo ghosted because of being lapped. So he's looking at Vardy in his mirrors for sure. Probably not in the context he would have perhaps preferred to have done. But he's allowing Vardy to slowly chip away at Knowing Light using all of his ERS, so you can see the difference now. And Vardy has that mental advantage. He has that physical advantage as well of having the ERS. Is that Davila going slowly? Is that Davila? Imagine. That would be absolute scenes. The iconic Sweeney Z. Actually, no. It's the iconic Zach Sweeney moment now. Is that Davila? One can dream. 7 laps of this race remaining. 8 tenths is the gap between Patterson and Davila when it comes to time penalties. Could be ever close. That's Scott getting through on Wayne. But Wayne getting him right back under with a nice little switcheroo. So Scott having to do all that work again. Vardy versus Knowing Light now towards the end of the race. Lap 31 and 36. 6 laps of this race remaining. Patterson has crucially picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. So it's now 4 seconds the gap to Davila. And 4 seconds the gap to Pau. So that is a big, big moment for the championship and probably ruined his chances now, if any. And he's going to need to work extra hard to get fastest lap, which at the moment goes to Scott. A 109.6. Patterson's on a 109.7. That's so close. That is incredible stuff. So it looks as though we are going to need a Davila going slowly moment for this brawl in the championship. This is very nerve-wracking, I must say. Vardy putting the pressure on Knowing Light now. This is going to be a fight for the race lead very, very soon. It very much is. Patterson digging his own grave. He's now pushing the button though, is Vardy. The overtake is enabled. He's closing. that extra 160 brake horsepower and going to be the drag reduction system, giving him that extra probably 30 miles an hour combined. And now knowing like having to conserve energy, here's the move for the race lead. Is he going to go for it? No, he's not. He's going to wait for the run towards turn 4. He's going to try and set up a good exit, knowing like knows he needs a good exit, but he's not got enough ERS to defend. Vardy a little bit shaky. Is he going to push the button? Is he going to waste his energy? He's going to sit behind in DRS. He's comfortable to wait another lap, but doesn't want to leave it too late. He definitely could. Better tyres towards the end of the race, but it's a big gap. 5 seconds to close to Patterson. Well, I should say more around 2.1 seconds because of his penalty, but that aside, Vardy had a nice little look at knowing right, but he's going to need a better exit if he wants to go for it properly. Looks as though Patterson's sort of advantage starting to wear thin a little bit. And mediums definitely would have been the better options for the Alpha boys, it must be said. Vardy setting up a good exit though. He's nearly got a full battery compared to knowing like that 30%. He's now pushed the button, knowing like also defending as best he can. DRS, Kington has retired. That could be massive in terms of a VSC. Potentially yellow flags we're now going into. Vardy going for the race lead. He's going to pull to the inside towards turn 1. He needs to be as late as he can on the brakes. He's knowing like going to swoop around the outside. He's going to try to. It's going to be the inside for turn 2, but he's going to have to settle for P2. But it's now going to be DRS down towards turn number 4. Can he launch a counter-attack? He needs to give it all or nothing now as he's closing on Vardy. This is the move he needs. He's coming back at him to the inside of turn 4. Here comes Knowing Light and up the inside, but Vardy around the outside. Manages to keep it. He's been pushed off the track, and Knowing Light and Vardy's still going to be side by side up towards the hill. He's going to push the button, show his nose towards turn 6, but just break that a little bit earlier as to not spit himself out from being turned in on from Knowing Light, because that definitely would have happened. Knowing Light incredibly aggressive to try and keep on to this race lead. But incredible racing between the two, it must be said. Scott still stuck behind Wayne on lap 33 of 36. We've only got a few laps of this race remaining, 3.5 to be precise. And Vardy and Knowing Light not giving each other an inch. Vardy going to come straight back at him though. He's got a massive advantage. Knowing Light really clutching at some short straws here. And Vardy just zipping off the exit. You can see very, very big pace deficit in terms of Knowing Light, who's now having to preserve ERS. Kington retiring means Hephaestus can get 10th in the championship as well. That is incredible stuff, which is really going to be nice for Hephaestus in his only his second season in APP. Going to be nice to see. Is Vardy close enough? Knowing Light's going to hang on, but Knowing Light needs to make sure he can save enough ERS to defend and attack. Scott getting himself through on Wayne there. Lap 34 of 36. 2.5 laps of this race remaining. The win is coming down to the wire. The championship battle is coming down to the wire. Patterson is closing on Davila. 2.5 seconds. Can he do this? He needs to do it, because if penalties won't win him this, if he can get in front, he'll take P3. Davila's going to do his best he can. Paus now with 3 seconds. So he can't even hedge his bets on closing the gap. So this is very, very tense. A lot of variables being chucked in. This is why we love motorsport. Now coming on to the penultimate lap, Vardy needs a good exit. Knowing Light could potentially get some DRS. It looks just before the DRS detection point, unfortunately. So here comes Vardy then. He's not going to be a little bit disadvantaged. And he's going to come at him. He knows he's got the closing speed, in fact. So he's not going to push the button. He's just going to sit behind Knowing Light. Look to the inside. And he's going to go for it. He's going to wait for that run towards turn 4. That crucial run towards turn 4. Just needs a good launch. Knowing Light running a little bit lower on ERS, as we've said. So isn't going to be able to really protect it, but Vardy's just sitting back. He's not using his advantage. Is he waiting for a chance where he knows Knowing Light can't get him back? He's leaving this very, very late though, and this is very, very tantalizingly close stuff here, because Vardy's leaving this incredibly late. I get the theory that if he needs to get him before Knowing Light can get him back, because if he did it now, Knowing Light could get him back with DRS. But at the same time, if he misses this opportunity, he's going to run out of time to get it back. So 1 lap and a couple of corners left of this race. Patterson 2 seconds behind on Davila. He needs to catch and get past if he wants P3. That's a great launch from Vardy though, on the back of Knowing Light, who's saved up a little bit of ERS. So here comes Vardy. onto the final lap of the race, knowing like already having to conserve. He's going to go defensive towards turn 1. He's going to stay in the middle. Here comes Vardy to the inside, knowing like now already pulling to the outside. They're going to run side by side, knowing like sends it under brakes, and he's going to have to settle in for P2 because Vardy claims that corner. But he's going to have DRS now down towards turn number 4. He's got just enough ERS in the tank to maybe launch an attack, and here he comes on the final lap. Is Vardy going to be able to hang on? The closing speed of knowing like isn't quite enough, and that is incredible stuff from Vardy to play the patient game. And now knowing like he's going to run out of opportunities to get it back, he's going to give it everything on this final lap. He's only got a few corners left to go. Into turn 6, completely sends it, goes in a little bit too deep though. So Vardy, with his incredible pace, might have this one in the bag, knowing like he's going to have a chance with run to DRS, with a run with DRS towards the line. Could be possible. Tier now on the back of Paus, in fact, launching it up the inside, so this could be massive. Paus needs to hang on to this P5. We completely rule Tier out of this. If Tier gets his way through, then Patterson takes it in the championship. But back up to the front, Vardy's going to just about hang on, I think. But we need to flick through because that's a crucial championship battle. It looks as though for the finale of Season 2, the runner-up in the championship, Vardy takes the win ahead of knowing like who's so close, who tried his best to do so. How many penalties does Tier have? He's got 9 seconds, so it's not that big of an issue. Incredible dice for the lead. Incredible stuff. It looks as though Paus is just about going to hang on. Patterson can't do enough. Davila rounds off the top 3, and here comes Paus. He's going to take P3 in the championship. I'm sure he's going to be buzzing with that one. P5 on the road, P3 in the championship, Tier P6. The champion of TED in P6 after penalties sort themselves out, and that is everyone across the line. An absolutely incredible race. Patterson with driver of the day. That was an incredible drive to put it where he did by 1 point. That was such a close race. Incredible stuff. There was a little bit of a shaky moment in the middle, but he just about managed to hang on. And it is Vardy that wins the final race of the season, knowing like just missing out unfortunately in P2. Davila rounds off the top 3. Patterson followed by Paus. So close in terms of those two in the championship, but a great effort from Patterson. Maybe if he had a better qualifying, it's the what ifs, and who knows. The champion of TED in P6 with Tier P7. Scott P8, just is going to miss the chance of P3 in the championship. Wayne P9, and then faces P10. Sumo P11, a first lap incident really did throw him out the running for the rest of the race there. Starry P12, QB P13, Giza P14, S-Man P15, with Kington, Kieran and Rasso all the DNFs. And that is going to round off tonight's action. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for the entirety of Season 2, despite my absence for a couple of rounds of it, but it's been a pleasure where I have been here, and I'm looking forward so much for Season 3 and what it has in store for us. But if you have enjoyed that race as much as I have, do make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to check out APPF1 over on YouTube to see his POV of an incredible race. Don't forget to check out our sponsor on Instagram, TC_Focus. An incredible car photographer, so make sure to go check him out. He's going to be continuing with us going into Season 3, but I'm looking forward to Season 3. It's going to be a bit of a break, but I can't wait, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.